All right, everyone, so it's time for our last activity of the week. We are going to make some Play-Doh Ladybugs. And how we're going to do that is we're going to use our famous salt dough recipe. We're going to make a batch of Play-Doh, and not only regular Play-Doh, it's going to be red Play-Doh because we are making ladybugs. And then when we're done, I'm going to show you how you can create a whole little ladybug family. And you can make them any way you want. So this is really a thinking activity, an exploring activity, let's just have fun activity. So let's get started. So for this experiment, for this creation, in order to make your salt dough, you're going to need a number of materials. Your first material you're going to need is some flour. Next, you're going to need some water. You're going to need some salt. Now, if you have kosher salt, great. If not, table salt will work great too. You need some measuring cups. You need some oil, preferably vegetable oil, but corn oil will do just as well. And, of course, some red food coloring. Then when it comes to making our ladybugs, you're going to need a few buttons. You're going to need some googly eyes and a pipe cleaner or two and some scissors to definitely cut the pipe cleaners up. So first thing we're going to do to start our Play-Doh is we're going to do about 1 cup of flour. So again, make sure you're in a safe spot because as we've all seen, flour can get everywhere. So we're going to get about a cup of Play-Doh and just pour it into your big bowl. Next, we're going to need about a half a cup of salt. So use a measuring cup, pour it out. I have a new box this time, so it has no big rocks as of yet. All right, it's about a half cup. We're going to sprinkle that in. Next comes the water. We're going to need about a half a cup of water. Very good. And about 1.5 teaspoons of vegetable oil. So I already have that pre-measured in this cup. So I'm just going to pour that in. And then when you're done with that, you're going to add in red food coloring. Now, my friends know that anytime I touch red food coloring, I get it all over my hands. Doesn't matter what I do, how I do it, I get it all over my hands. Also, we are going to be kneading this dough. So I do recommend if you have gloves, please put them on unless you want your hands to be red for the next day or so. It just makes things easier. But if you're not afraid, go for it. It will come off in the bath. So there's no reason to, not have fun if you want to have fun. So you need a good couple of drops. If you have a big bottle like this, be careful because more will come out. But if you have those little bottles, about, I would say 8 to 10 drops should make a nice, rich red color. So I'm just going to pour in some red food coloring because I want it really red. And then be very careful when you pick it up. Make sure the cap is back on. And next thing we're going to do is we are going to knead it, which means we are going to squish it with our hands. And be very careful because at first it will be very wet and soggy. And if you knead it too fast, it will kind of splash up at you. But just keep kind of squishing it up with your hands. And while you're kneading it, you're going to see how it forms. And you're going to kind of figure out by the way it feels if you need any more materials. Sometimes, measurements aren't always that accurate. So if you feel it's too slimy, you add more flour. If you feel it's too dry or sticky, you could add more water. It's really up to you. Like mine right now is very gooey. So I'm thinking it might need some more flour. So I'm just going to take my cup and very carefully get some more and just sprinkle it on top. That's feeling better. And how you know it's ready is you can start molding it and it's not really going to be, so sticky because right now when I squeeze it, my hands kind of stick together. So you just got to keep working it, and the more you work it, it's not going to be 1, 2, 3. The more you work it, the better your Play-Doh is going to be. And plus, this is great exercise for your hand muscles, your fine motor, all those little muscles that are in your hands and your arms and your fingers. They're really starting to get a workout. So I think I'm going to add a little more flour. So what do we say? 1 cup flour. So it probably ends up almost being 1.5 at this point. This is a new recipe. The one I use is pretty similar to this, but it doesn't use the oil, and this was just supposed to make more of a Play-Doh rather than a salt dough. It's still basically the same thing, but it's supposed to be easier to mold, so I figured we could try a new recipe. So far, I'm liking it. It's a very pretty color. It just takes a little bit more work. Look at that. That's nice, huh? It's a beautiful red color. It's very, very sticky. Yeah, so about 1.5 cups per flour. So 1.5 cups flour, half a cup of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of oil, and 1/2 cup of water will do it. Because right now, this is beautiful Play-Doh. I can feel it. After you're done mixing it, also that red color should not go onto your hands anymore. So when you feel you're ready, you can take your gloves off. And, oh, it does feel nice. It is still a little sticky, but it will dry up as the time goes on. So, next thing we're going to do is, if I can move some of my materials out of the way, is we're going to get ready to make some Play-Doh Ladybugs. And how we're going to do that is just very easily, just going to take some Play-Doh and you kind of roll it around. And you make the ladybugs any shape you want. You can make them into a ball, you can make them into kind of a pyramid, you can make rectangle ladybugs, any kind. This is a fun activity. This is not, we're not making, you know, the ones that you would see in the book. Even if you want to make them a little different than what you would see, completely up to you. So I'm going to make 3 nice ladybugs. And the next thing I want to do is I'm going to give them some wiggly eyes, some googly eyes. Open up my package. All right. And I'm going to give each one, you see them right there? Yeah. 2 eyes. You can give them more if you want. More, less. You can give them 3 eyes, 5 eyes. This is just fun. All right, there's my little ladybug family. Next, I'm going to give them some antenna. Remember those feelers? And how you're going to do that is just take a pipe cleaner and whatever color you want. I just so happen to grab a purple one. So I'm going to use a purple pipe cleaner. And each of my ladybugs, I'm going to give them 2 antenna. And then I am going to give them some black spots. So if you have buttons, sequins work great, pom-poms, pretty much anything that has that circle shape that you can find. And you can just give them each. I'll give this one 2 spots. I'll give this one 1 spot. Oh, maybe this one's little. I'll give him 1 spot. And little. And look at that. I made Play-Doh ladybugs. And you can make as many as you want. As much Play-Doh as you have, you can make a whole little family of them. You can make one really big one. You can make a bunch of small ones. Just have fun. Get your hands dirty and make some beautiful ladybugs. And I can't wait to see what you guys create. I can't wait to see if your ladybugs look like the ladybugs we've seen in pictures and the ones that were in our ladybug land. Or maybe they're a new breed of ladybugs and, you know, maybe they have triangle spots instead of circle spots, or maybe they have 3 antennae, or maybe they have 6 eyes. It's all up to you. Have fun. This is a creativity activity. It doesn't have to look perfect. It just has to be your work. I hope you guys really enjoyed this week's Ladybug Units. We will be checking in still on our ladybugs, even though our ladybug week is over, because our ladybugs have emerged out of their pupas. And what we're going to do is we're going to give them a couple more days, and they're going to really mature, and their wings are going to be strong enough. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to release them outside. So we will have one more check-in before I release them. And I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to showing you guys what we have planned for next week. All right, have a great weekend. Have a great Mother's Day. Make sure you give your moms extra, extra big hugs, and you be really, really nice to them. I will see you next week. Bye.